Now, when it comes to storing the data to use for your mail merge, Word is actually quite happy for that data to be stored in pretty much any format that you can store data in. It will still then be able to access that data. Quite a common format for storing data, though, is a Word table. And we have here, example file, the employees file, which is a Word table document. Now, if you're going to use a Word table for the data source for a mail merge, then the only item that should be in that file is the table. There shouldn't really be anything above the table, so any headings or logos or anything like that, because that's not appropriate for the use of this data. You can then add to the data by adding a new row in at the end or in the middle, and we can make use of that data in our mail merge documents. So this is going to be our data source, the Word table. We then need a base letter, a base document. Let's take the department move file, which is going to be an internal memo. It's going to place today's date here. Dear the person's first name here, their department here, their salary here. All of that information we have in the Word table. So our steps now are to link the two together so that this memo can create 100 memos to the 100 people in the Word table. Step number 1 is to go to the Mailings tab. We have the option here to start the mail merge, and we've seen already that these steps allow us to change the document type and to access the mail merge wizard. Well, we don't actually need to go through that process when you already have a base document. We do need to go through step 2 here, which is select the recipients. Now I could type a list, and we've done that previously. Use an existing list or choose from my Outlook contacts. Well, I want to use an existing list. When I click that, Word wants to access the data sources within my documents. However, I don't need to store the file there. That's just its default location. I can pick up my file from my working files. So I go into my working files, choose the correct folder, and I can see the data source in here, which is the employees.docs. So I know it's that Word document with the table of employees in. I then open. We can then see there are a list of further items here. Insert merge field will show me the column headings from the table. So I know I've got the right data source because I recognize those. And we can then insert them into our document. So dear name, I delete name and I choose the merge field. First name, department changes, delete department and insert their department, making sure that there is a space between the field and the next word. Same here for department, delete, insert department. Again, making sure there is a space. And then their salary, delete the word salary and insert the salary field. Now, when we're doing the mail merge this way, where we're placing the fields in ourselves, we can see the merge fields by the double-headed left arrow and double-headed right arrow around them. But if we want to see what this looks like with data in, we can choose Preview Results here. And that will show me the first record. So, Dear Wendy, RE clerical changes to clerical department, $24,500. And I can move through each of the recipients, or each of the rows in the table, by just clicking next, next, next on this little mini navigation bar, or I could go to the last row, or I can go to the first row, or I can even find a particular recipient, find Paul in the first name field, find first Paul, there's one, next Paul, next Paul, next Paul, and then there are no more. So I want to start from the beginning. Well, I was at the beginning, and we go around again. So close. So that's an option if you've got a lot of data, you just want to check that it is working for you. If we click here to effectively unpreview the results, then I get to see the layout of the letter with the merge fields in place. One other thing to do is to replace today's date with insert date and time, choose the format I would like, the option here to update automatically. So if I use this same memo again, it will already have today's date in. I quite like that, so that's okay. Make sure the return there, so we'll have a double space there. And our memo is ready to go. The next stage is then to finish and merge. Again, we could go straight to the printer, or I could edit the individual documents. All the records, the current record, so the record I'm looking at the moment, which is 27. All records from a record number to a record number. Let's do them all. And it will create me a 100-page Word document. I can see that down the left here, 1 of 100. So each memo is using one page. I add in my 100 recipients and I get 100 memos, all in the same document, but each with a single page. Dear Mario, dear Arthur, dear Michael, all customized with the correct department in there and their correct salary in there. This is the final merged result. This is the one that I would print or save, or once I'd printed, I could even discard it if I don't want to keep the merged result. Notice it calls it letters 2. All the merged results are always called letters with the number of the next merge that you've carried out. The base file is still there, the department move file, but now it is attached to the data source and will always be attached to the data source until you change that data source. So every time I open this file, it knows it's attached to that data source, and as long as that data source is in the same physical location, it will be able to make a connection, and then we can run this again, perhaps with a different set of people. So that's using a Word table as your data source for a mail merge.